Hey there, everybody. I wanted to send out a little video because it's the middle of the week and I think we need a little bit of a pick-me-up. But also, we did something special today in class and I wanted to share it just with everyone. Because I had this tradition back when I was at the previous school, and I had this tradition that on Tuesdays, because we had a shorter period, it was a day dedicated to reading. And for a lot of my students, they're sophomores and they've got this idea in their head that like books are lame. And I noticed that as students started to come in, I would ask them like, when was the last time you read a book that you really liked? And the responses would be very telling. I could see very early on if a student said, I read a book that I liked just yesterday. In fact, here's the book and I love it. Even if it was a manga, even if it was a comic book, that student would do better in my class, period. And so I realized that I was trying to cure the symptoms and not the problem. I would be like, okay, well, I need to get you to read these good books and answer the questions right and get an A on the test so that you can get an A on the SBAC and you can go to a good college. But I wasn't getting them to love reading. And it took me a long time to love reading. And so I made a special day just for reading in my class. And I wanted to make it feel special when people came in. So oftentimes, I'd give it like a little bit of a cafe vibe. In fact, maybe like that, right? Maybe not so harsh. Some cool shadows going on, right? And I would invite people in and I'd have some like chill lo-fi hip hop playing, right? I might have something like, I don't know. Let me see. Chill lo-fi hip hop. Let me just steal it from the internet. How's that sound? Of course, there are ads. So you come in, you feel relaxed, and you feel comfortable, right? I wanted people to feel that way when they were in my class because that's how I feel when I start reading a book, and that's what people will talk about. And then what I did, and this is for all of those students out there that maybe miss having a reading day, what I did was I would start every single one of those days reading something to my students, maybe a poem, maybe a little excerpt from the book that we were reading together, maybe the short story that we were reading that week. And in this case, I read for them one of my favorite books, Stellaluna. So what I wanted to do for this video is I'm just going to read this book to you, maybe give you an opportunity to finish a book today. Because it doesn't matter what the book is, if you read a book cover to cover, you are lapping everybody else who's on the couch. And if you're living in America, you're lapping a lot of people who didn't read anything today. So let's read Stellaluna. Stellaluna by Janelle Cannon, one of my favorite books. In a warm and sultry forest far, far away, there once lived a mother fruit bat and her new baby. Oh, how Mother Bat loved her soft, tiny baby. I'll name you Stellaluna, she crooned, and each night Mother Bat would carry Stellaluna clutched to her breast as she flew out to search for food. One night, as Mother Bat followed the heavy scent of ripe fruit, an owl spied her, and on silent wings the powerful bird swooped down upon the bats. Dodging and shrieking, Mother Bat tried to escape, but the owl struck again and again, knocking Stellaluna into the air. Her baby wings were as limp and useless as wet paper. And down, down she went, faster and faster, into the forest below. The dark leafy tangle of branches caught Stellaluna as she fell. One twig was small enough for Stellaluna's tiny feet. Wrapping her wings about her, she clutched the thin branch, trembling with cold and fear. Mother, Stellaluna squeaked, where are you? By daybreak, the baby bat could hold on no longer, and down, down again she dropped. Flump! Stellaluna landed headfirst in a soft, downy nest, startling the three baby birds who lived there. Stellaluna quickly clambered from the nest and hung out of sight below it. She listened to the babble of the three birds. What was that? Cried Flap. I don't know, but it's hanging by its feet, chirped Flitter. Shh, here comes Mama, hissed Pip. You all have to appreciate these voices, I'm sorry. Many, many times that day, Mama Bird flew away, always returning with food for her babies. Stellaluna was terribly hungry, but not for the crawly things Mama brought. Finally, though, the little bat could bear it no longer. She climbed into the nest, closed her eyes, and opened her mouth. Plop! In dropped a big green grasshopper. Oh, that's food. That's tasty. Stellaluna learned to be like the birds. She stayed awake all day and slept at night. She ate bugs even though they tasted awful. Her bat ways were quickly disappearing, except for one thing. Stellaluna still liked to sleep hanging by her feet. Once, when Mama was away, the curious baby birds decided to try it too. And when Mama Bird came home, she saw 8 tiny feet gripping the edge of the nest. Eek! She cried. Get back up here this instant. You're going to fall and break your necks. I call that my Karen voice. The birds clambered back into the nest, but Mama Bird stopped Stellaluna. You're teaching my children to do bad things. I will not let you back into this nest unless you promise to obey all the rules of this house. I want to speak to the manager. Stellaluna promised. She ate bugs without making faces. She slept in the nest at night, and she didn't hang by her feet. Stellaluna behaved as a good bird should. All the babies grew up quickly. Soon the nest became crowded. Mama Bird told them it was time to learn to fly, and one by one, Pip, Flitter, Flap, and Stellaluna jumped from the nest. Their wings worked. I'm just like them, thought Stellaluna. I can fly too. Pip, Flitter, and Flap landed gracefully on a branch. Stellaluna tried to do the same. How embarrassing. Oof. I will fly all day, Stellaluna told herself. Then no one will see how clumsy I am. This is my favorite page in the book because I think that this is what we really resonate with. I will fly all day. I have this reading log that students fill out and they're supposed to take a picture of themselves. I'm going to take a picture of some random book I've never even looked at. Then no one will know that I don't read good books. I'm going to cheat on my math homework. Then no one will know I'm bad at math. I'm going to do whatever I can to pass this test, even if I don't know any of the stuff, because then my parents won't know that I'm stupid. We've all felt that way. I think a lot of you guys feel that way. What is it that you're doing that's tiring you out, that's making your wings weak? Are you flying all day when you should be sleeping? The next day, Pip, Flitter, Flap, and Stellaluna went flying far from home. They flew for hours, exercising their new wings. The sun is setting, warned Flitter. We'd better go home or we'll get lost in the dark, said Flap. But Stellaluna had flown far ahead and was nowhere to be seen. The 3 anxious birds went home without her. All alone, Stellaluna flew and flew until her wings ached and she dropped into a tree. I promised not to hang by my feet, Stellaluna sighed. So she hung by her thumbs and soon fell asleep. She didn't hear the soft sound of wings coming near. Hey, a loud voice said. Why are you hanging upside down? Stellaluna's eyes opened wide. She saw a most peculiar face. I'm not upside down. You are, Stellaluna said. Ah, but you're a bat. Bats hang by their feet. You're hanging by your thumbs, so that makes you upside down, the creature said. I'm a bat. I'm hanging by my feet. That makes me right side up. Stellaluna was confused. Mama Bird told me I was upside down. She said I was wrong. Wrong for a bird, maybe, but not for a bat. More bats gathered around to see the strange young bat who behaved like a bird. Stellaluna told them her story. You ate bugs? Stuttered one. You slept at night? Gasped the other. How very strange, they all murmured. Wait, let me look at this child. A bat pushed through the crowd. An owl attacked you? She asked, sniffing Stellaluna's fur. She whispered, you are Stellaluna. You're my baby. Can you imagine how weird that would be? You walk out of a Target, somebody runs up and it's just like, you're my kid. Makes me uncomfortable. You escaped the owl, cried Stellaluna. You survived? Yes, said Mother Bat as she wrapped her wings around Stellaluna. Come with me, and I'll show you where to find the most delicious fruit. You'll never have to eat another bug as long as you live. But it's nighttime, Stellaluna squeaked. We can't fly in the dark, or we will crash into trees. We're bats, said Mother Bat. We can see in the darkness. Come with us. Stellaluna was afraid, but she let go of the tree and dropped into the deep blue sky. Stellaluna could see. She felt as though rays of light shone from her eyes. She was able to see everything in her path. Soon the bats found a mango tree, and Stellaluna ate as much of the fruit as she could find. "I'll never eat another bug as long as I live," cheered Stellaluna as she stuffed herself full. "I must tell Pip, Flitter, and Flap." The next day, Stellaluna went to visit the birds. "Come with me and meet my bat family," said Stellaluna. "Okay, let's go," agreed Pip. "They hang by their feet, and they fly at night, and they eat the best food in the world," Stellaluna explained to the birds on the way. As the birds flew among the bats, Flap said, "I feel upside down here." So the birds hung by their feet. "Wait until dark," Stellaluna said excitedly. "We will fly at night." When night came, Stellaluna flew away. Pip, Flitter, and Flap leaped from the tree to follow her. "I can't see a thing," yelled Pip. "Neither can I," howled Flitter. "Ah!" shrieked Flap. "They're going to crash," gasped Stellaluna. "I must rescue them." Stellaluna swooped about, grabbing her friends in the air. She lifted them to a tree, and the birds grasped a branch. Stellaluna hung from the limb above them. "We're safe," said Stellaluna. Then she sighed. "I wish you could see in the dark, too." "We wish you could land on your feet," Flitter replied. Pip and Flap nodded. They perched in silence for a long time. "How can we be so different and feel so much alike?" mused Flitter. "And how can we feel so different and be so much alike?" wondered Pip. "I think this is quite a mystery," Flap chirped. "I agree," said Stellaluna. "But we're friends, and that's a fact." The thing about this book that I really, really like is that it talks about this feeling that I think all of us get when it comes to school, when it comes to work, this imposter syndrome, this idea that you don't belong. And we've all felt that to some extent. And we've all been told that what we're doing is not the right thing. That feeling of it's wrong for a bird maybe, but not for a bat. And so you've been told things that you do are unhealthy, things that you do are bad. And in reality, they're just different. And so we look at something like this, and I imagine what it would be like if I had all of my students with this book in their hand, sitting out in the quad, reading it. And would people come by and be like, "I'm sorry, that's not a sophomore level book. That doesn't count." Who gets to pick the canon? Who gets to pick what's in and what's out? Because I guarantee that it wasn't the sophomore students, and those sophomores, those kids, what they need more than anything is to read a book. You did it, guys. You read today. You read a book cover to cover. Look, I have 2 master's degrees, and I didn't read that much. I got books, I downloaded them on my phone, and I did text to speech on my phone. I'd listen to it while walking around the lake. Did that not count? Did I not read those books? Am I not smart enough? Because I got the papers. I paid for them. At what point do we accept that somebody's smart? At what point do we get to decide whether they're good enough, whether they're valuable? Because I read books that way. And my dad, he had like a closet full of comic books. He had like the first edition, first printing of X-Men, and people told him that wasn't worth much. They were wrong, right? Like those books, those comic books are valuable. These books, you look at them and you're like, that's a kid's book. Well, who says it's a kid's book? Just because it's short? Because I have poetry books that were shorter than this. I have poems that I read that definitely aren't for kids, and they were shorter than this. Oh, because it's got pictures? Is that what makes it a kid's book? Because I don't know if you've ever read Watchmen, but Watchmen has a big blue guy and all of his big blue parts, and it ain't for kids, but it's got more pictures than this, right? So who said it doesn't count? Maybe it doesn't count for a bird, but it does for a bat. You did a good job today. Maybe you haven't heard that a lot. You read a book. And that's the thing to celebrate. I'll see you guys. We'll see you guys all later.